Hello friends! Have you ever wondered what makes Libra such a magnetic presence when it comes to intimacy and relationships? There's something almost enchanting about the way this air sign turns even the smallest gesture into an act of grace. Libra, ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony, approaches sex not merely as a physical act but as a work of art, an expression of aesthetics and balance, where the body and the soul merge into one seamless dance. Let's dive deep into what makes Libra so unique in the realm of sexuality and emotional connections, exploring their desires, their strengths, their challenges, and their compatibility with others. The aesthetic lover. Libra is a sign that thrives on beauty, but when we use the word beauty in connection with Libra, we must broaden our understanding far beyond the narrow confines of physical attractiveness. For Libra, beauty is not simply about the symmetry of a face or the elegance of a body, though those things certainly catch their eye. Beauty for Libra is an atmosphere, a composition, an experience in which every element harmonizes with the next. Sexuality, for this sign, is never reduced to raw instinct or urgency. Instead, it is cultivated like an art form, where mood, timing, and energy intertwine with the physical to create something that feels more like poetry than passion. Imagine stepping into a space curated by Libra. There's a deliberate softness to everything. The way the curtains filter the light, the gentle fragrance that lingers in the air, the music chosen not because it's popular but because it evokes the right emotion. They are connoisseurs of ambiance, understanding instinctively that setting is not a trivial detail but an essential part of desire. For them, intimacy is framed by the world they build around it, and this world must appeal to the senses on multiple levels: sight, sound, touch, taste, and scent. The result is not a room but a stage upon which intimacy unfolds, and Libra, without ever announcing it, becomes both the director and the performer. To understand how deeply this runs in Libra's nature, consider how attuned they are to subtle cues. A Libra notices whether you are at ease before they move forward. They pay attention to the curve of your smile, the way your shoulders relax or tense, the tone of your voice when you respond to their touch. Where some signs might overlook these details in the heat of passion, Libra takes them as crucial signals, adjusting their energy and actions accordingly. They are lovers who do not simply act. They listen, and their listening is not only verbal but physical, intuitive, and aesthetic. This need for harmony is not superficial, it is foundational. A Libra cannot lose themselves in intimacy if the environment feels chaotic or jarring. A bed unmade carelessly, harsh fluorescent lighting, or an unconsidered atmosphere can all dull their enthusiasm. While another sign might dismiss these things as trivial, Libra experiences them as disruptive. For them, imbalance in the environment translates into imbalance in the emotional and physical exchange. They cannot separate sex from setting because, to them, they are inseparable parts of the same composition. This is why sex with a Libra rarely feels rushed or impulsive. They value foreplay not just in the physical sense but in the gradual building of anticipation through thoughtful details. A lingering conversation over wine, a delicate touch that lasts just a moment longer than expected, the way they draw out the silences as if each pause has its own rhythm, all of these become part of the seduction. For Libra, intimacy is not about reaching a climax as quickly as possible but about savoring every stage of the journey. They are the slow burn, the careful build, the lover who ensures that by the time bodies meet, the connection is already layered with aesthetic pleasure. It is important to recognize that this aesthetic orientation does not make Libra shallow. On the contrary, it reveals their depth. They understand that true desire is not just physical, it is emotional, intellectual, and sensory. Their gift lies in weaving all these threads into a seamless fabric, creating moments that linger long after the act itself. A night with a Libra might be remembered less for the mechanics of sex and more for the feeling of being transported into another world, one designed with care and infused with meaning. Their artistry is not limited to creating the setting. It extends to the way they touch, move, and respond. A Libra's movements are often described as graceful, as if their bodies are naturally inclined to flow rather than force. There is a softness in their gestures, and elegance in the way they kiss, caress, and hold their partners. Even when passion rises to intensity, it rarely loses its balance or harmony. Their aim is not domination or conquest but fusion, a blending of energies that feels equal, fluid, and beautiful. At times, this commitment to aesthetics can frustrate partners who prefer spontaneity or raw passion. A fiery sign, for example, might crave unplanned urgency, while Libra is more inclined to pause and adjust the dimmer switch. Yet even in these contrasts, there is something valuable. Libra reminds us that intimacy does not need to be careless to be thrilling, that deliberate beauty can be just as intoxicating as spontaneous fire. In fact, for those who allow themselves to enter Libra's world, the reward is a kind of timeless elegance in passion that few other signs can replicate. Libra's aestheticism also shapes how they view their partner. They admire physical beauty, yes, but they are equally enchanted by gestures, by style, by the way someone laughs or carries themselves. They fall for grace in its many forms, and their attraction often extends beyond physicality into mannerisms, voices, and even the artistry of thought. A partner who can speak eloquently, dress with intention, or create beauty in their own way becomes irresistibly magnetic to Libra. To them, beauty is not just skin deep, it is a vibration that flows through everything a person does. The texture of the sheets matters. The scent of your perfume matters. The rhythm of your breath matters. These are not small details to Libra. They are the palette with which desire is painted. When everything comes together, when the colors are harmonious, the music is right, the bodies are attuned, the experience transcends the ordinary. It becomes a performance without an audience, a private art that only the two of you will ever know, and yet it will feel unforgettable. In this sense, Libra elevates sex into something sacred. Not sacred in a religious way, but sacred in the sense of reverence for beauty, balance, and connection. They approach intimacy with the same care that an artist brings to a canvas, refusing to treat it as ordinary or mechanical. For them, every encounter has the potential to be exquisite, provided the space, the partner, and the energy align. Ultimately, to love a Libra is to step into a world where beauty is never optional. They will invite you into this world with grace, charm, and attentiveness, and if you are willing to meet them there, you will discover that their aesthetic nature is not a barrier but a gateway to intimacy that feels harmonious, sensual, and profoundly human. And now, a little side note. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a thanks button right under this video, or through the donation alerts link in the description. Your support truly helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's continue. The balance between giving and receiving. Libra is symbolized by the scales, and there is perhaps no arena in which this symbolism comes alive more vividly than in their intimate lives. For Libra, balance is not just a lofty idea, it is a visceral necessity, a force that governs the way they approach relationships, sex, and emotional connection. When they enter into intimacy, they do so with a heightened sensitivity to fairness, to the delicate interplay between what they give and what they receive. If there is one truth that defines Libra in the bedroom, it is that they cannot be content unless their partner is equally satisfied. Pleasure, for them, is never a solitary pursuit. It is a shared experience, a duet where each voice must be heard, each note must resonate in harmony. From the very beginning of an encounter, Libra's attunement to their partner's needs is almost uncanny. They listen, not only with their ears but with their whole being. A sigh, a subtle shift in breath, the quiet arch of a back or the movement of hands, these are signals that Libra reads with an almost artistic intuition. Where others might overlook the quiet language of the body, Libra interprets it fluently. They are masters at adjusting, refining, responding in ways that communicate. I see you, I feel you, I hear what your body is telling me. This attentiveness transforms sex into a collaborative act, a dialogue of touch and energy where neither party is neglected. What makes Libra extraordinary in this realm is their refusal to indulge in selfishness. For them, the scales must always tip toward balance, toward reciprocity. A night of passion that leaves one partner fulfilled and the other wanting is unthinkable to them, like a song played in half measures or a painting left incomplete. They take genuine joy in creating an equilibrium where giving and receiving flow seamlessly into each other. When their partner experiences joy, satisfaction, and release, Libra feels that joy as if it were their own. This is not mere empathy, it is their fundamental way of experiencing intimacy. And yet, as with all great gifts, there lies within this devotion a challenge. Because Libras are so deeply concerned with fairness, they sometimes hesitate to fully express their own desires. They worry that by taking too much, by asking for what they want too openly, they may disrupt the delicate symmetry they work so hard to maintain. This tendency can cause them to suppress parts of themselves, to hold back desires that might otherwise bring depth and authenticity to the encounter. It is a paradox. Their strength is their ability to care for the other, but it can become a weakness if they neglect to advocate for themselves. Imagine a Libra in the middle of an intimate moment. Their partner hints at something they want, and Libra, of course, obliges with grace. But when Libra feels an urge rising in themselves, they may pause, questioning, will this make my partner uncomfortable? Will this shift the balance too far? That hesitation, born from their need for harmony, can sometimes lead to a quiet frustration, a sense that while their partner is glowing with satisfaction, their own flame has been dimmed. Yet even here, the core of Libra's essence reveals itself. They will almost always choose to give rather than take, because the act of giving is, in itself, their source of pleasure. This does not mean that Libra is doomed to self-denial. When they find a partner who encourages them to voice their needs, who reminds them that equality includes their fulfillment too, Libra can open into a kind of intimacy that is breathtaking in its reciprocity. At their best, they embody the purest form of sexual partnership, two individuals equally invested in each other's joy, each willing to both lead and follow, both to give and receive. In such a space, sex becomes a mirror of their deepest values, a living expression of the scales in perfect alignment. It is also worth noting that Libra's sense of fairness is not confined to the physical. Emotional reciprocity is just as vital. They want conversations that flow two ways, affection that is not just offered but returned, commitment that feels mutual. If they feel they are giving endlessly without being met halfway, their balance collapses, and with it, their sense of safety and desire. For Libra, sex is never just about bodies, it is about the exchange of energy, affection, and presence. Their need for equality extends to every layer of the connection. Partners who thrive with Libra are those who understand the beauty of this reciprocity. They do not take without giving back, they do not assume that Libra's generosity is infinite. They step into the rhythm of the scales, learning to share the dance, to honor both sides of the equation. With such a partner, Libra becomes radiant, free to express themselves fully because they know they are not alone in their effort to maintain harmony. But when balance is missing, when a partner consistently takes without thought of return, Libra's natural harmony begins to crack. At first, they may ignore it, excusing the imbalance, telling themselves it is temporary. But over time, the scales grow heavy on one side, and Libra feels the weight acutely. They may become restless, unsatisfied, even resentful, not because they are unwilling to give, but because giving without receiving breaks the very law of their being. For them, love cannot be one-sided. Sex cannot be one-sided. To neglect reciprocity is to deny what intimacy means. Ultimately, the balance between giving and receiving defines Libra's intimate essence. They remind us that sex is not a race to gratification, nor a solitary act of indulgence, but a shared ritual of connection where both people matter equally. They remind us that listening, noticing, adjusting, and caring are not extras but essentials. And they remind us, too, that our own desires matter, that balance includes our voices as well as the voices of those we love. To be with a Libra is to step into this delicate dance, to experience intimacy as an exchange where both partners are honored. It is to learn that true satisfaction comes not from dominance or submission, not from one-sidedness, but from the art of reciprocity, where giving and receiving blur into a single, harmonious whole. The role of Venus, romance and seduction. Venus, the radiant ruler of Libra, leaves its mark on every aspect of how this sign approaches love, intimacy, and desire. If Mars represents raw energy and passion, Venus represents refinement, beauty, and the art of making every romantic moment feel like a painting come alive. With Libra, sexuality is never reduced to a simple exchange of physical acts. It is infused with artistry, subtlety, and a profound respect for the experience itself. To understand Libra in the realm of romance and seduction, one must first understand what Venus teaches, that love is not just something to feel but something to create, to shape, and to express through grace. Libra does not rush into intimacy like a wildfire consuming everything in its path. Instead, they allow attraction to unfold slowly, deliberately, like a rose opening its petals under the warmth of the sun. Every glance, every word, every gesture carries weight, designed not in a coldly calculated way but with the effortless elegance that comes from being under Venus's domain. Long before two bodies ever touch, Libra has already begun weaving threads of connection. They know that the anticipation of intimacy is sometimes more powerful than the act itself, and they savor the slow build. Witty banter that sparkles with cleverness, playful teasing that lingers just on the edge of flirtation, and those silences heavy with unspoken promise, all of these are instruments in Libra's orchestra of seduction. Their approach is not about overwhelming their partner with grand gestures or overt displays of passion. Instead, it is about creating a world where their partner feels uniquely seen, desired, and valued. When you are with a Libra, you are not just another participant in a fleeting moment. You are the center of their attention, the muse to their Venusian artistry. They lean into you with curiosity, with admiration, with the kind of appreciation that makes you feel extraordinary. This is their seduction, not manipulation, not coercion, but the irresistible charm of genuine admiration and affection expressed in its most graceful form. Libra's romance is built on small things, the delicate details that others often overlook. They are the ones who notice the way your hand lingers on the table and gently cover it with theirs, the ones who remember that you prefer candlelight to overhead lamps, the ones who choose music that matches the rhythm of your mood. Each of these choices, though subtle, creates an atmosphere where seduction feels natural, where romance is not staged but lived. Under the influence of Venus, Libra understands instinctively that setting and sensation are intertwined, and so they weave them together until desire feels effortless. If love were a stage, Libra would indeed be the actor who keeps the audience enthralled. Their performance is not loud or flamboyant, but it is captivating in its subtlety. They know when to deliver a line with perfect timing, when to pause for effect, when to shift their energy to draw their partner in. They thrive on the interplay of attention, the magnetic pull between two people who are both aware of the current running beneath their words. This is the drama of attraction, and Libra plays it with both charm and restraint, ensuring that the curtain does not fall too quickly. The seduction of Libra is also intellectual. They are ruled by air as well as Venus, which means that conversation, ideas, and shared thoughts are as erotic to them as touch. A stimulating dialogue can excite them as much as a kiss, and the mind becomes a playground where flirtation dances freely. When Libra locks eyes with you during a witty exchange, when they laugh at your cleverness or challenge you with their own, the attraction intensifies not because of physicality alone but because of the intellectual spark that ignites between you. In this way, Venus teaches them that seduction is multi-layered, that the mind and the heart must be engaged before the body can follow. But make no mistake, though Libra seduces with elegance, their passion runs deep. It may not explode outward with fiery impulsiveness, but it simmers beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. When the time comes, their tenderness and intensity merge, creating a romantic experience that feels both refined and powerful. They are not the lovers who leave you breathless with speed and urgency. They are the ones who leave you lingering in memory, replaying the details again and again because every moment felt intentional, every movement was filled with meaning. It is important to recognize that this Venusian influence makes Libra crave mutuality in romance as much as in sex. Seduction, for them, is not a one-sided game where they perform and their partner receives. It is a shared dance, where both participants bring their own charm, their own wit, their own energy. They want to feel courted as much as they court. In fact, nothing excites a Libra more than being met halfway, than encountering someone who matches their flirtation with equal enthusiasm. When the push and pull of attraction is balanced, when both people are giving and receiving in equal measure, Libra feels as though they are living out the perfect Venusian love story. This emphasis on romance also explains why Libras are rarely satisfied with relationships that lack warmth or elegance. They are not drawn to mechanical encounters or to partners who see intimacy as purely functional. For them, sex without romance is like a song without melody. It might carry rhythm, but it lacks the beauty that makes it unforgettable. Venus whispers to Libra that love should always be adorned, that attraction should feel sweet and enticing, that desire should carry with it a sense of wonder. And yet, even with all their gifts, Libra's devotion to romance can sometimes create illusions. They may become so enchanted by the idea of seduction that they overlook reality. The candlelight, the laughter, the flirtation, it all feels so intoxicating that they may ignore deeper incompatibilities. This is one of their challenges, distinguishing between genuine connection and the intoxicating effect of romance itself. But even here, their intentions are pure. They are not deceivers. They are dreamers, believers in the power of love to transform ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. Ultimately, the role of Venus in Libra's sexuality is not just about beauty or charm. It is about creating intimacy that feels alive, layered, and meaningful. They are the lovers who remind us that attraction is not only physical, that romance matters, that seduction is not about conquest but about connection. With Libra, the journey into intimacy begins with a glance, a laugh, a touch, and builds into something that feels inevitable, as though Venus herself orchestrated the entire affair. To be seduced by a Libra is to step into a story, one where you are both character and audience, where the tension builds slowly and gracefully until it cannot be denied. It is to feel cherished, admired, and desired not just for your body but for your essence. And when the curtain finally falls, when the act reaches its climax, you leave not with the feeling of having been conquered but with the sense of having been celebrated. That is the true gift of Venus through Libra. The art of romance, the elegance of seduction, and the reminder that love, at its best, is as beautiful as it is powerful. The shadows, challenges and contradictions. Of course, no sign is without its shadows, and Libra is no exception. The very qualities that make them enchanting, considerate, and graceful in matters of love and sex can also turn against them when left unchecked. Their gift for creating balance, their natural instinct to smooth over conflict and preserve harmony, can at times harden into a kind of paralysis, a fear of rocking the boat, a hesitation so great that it stifles authenticity. In the realm of intimacy, this tendency often manifests as indecisiveness, suppressed desire, and the quiet erosion of their own needs. Libra's symbol, the scales, is a powerful image of fairness, equality, and harmony. Yet when taken too far, the scales do not rest in perfect balance. They tremble, swinging back and forth, unable to settle. That trembling is what indecision feels like for Libra. In matters of sex, where vulnerability and honesty are crucial, indecisiveness becomes especially difficult. Should they ask for what they really want? Should they express dissatisfaction? Should they risk breaking the mood by asserting a boundary or admitting a fantasy? Too often, Libra will answer these questions with silence, convincing themselves that it is better to say nothing than to risk imbalance. Imagine the moment. A Libra lies beside their partner, wanting something different, craving a touch in another place, a slower rhythm, or perhaps a deeper intensity. The desire burns quietly in their mind, but the words catch in their throat. They fear that voicing it might sound critical, might disrupt the beautiful mood they have worked so carefully to create. So they swallow the request. They smile, they nod, they allow the encounter to continue as it is, all while something inside them remains untouched. This suppression may feel small in the moment, but over time, it accumulates. Desire unsaid becomes desire unfulfilled, and unfulfilled desire slowly erodes connection. Their people-pleasing nature only deepens this shadow. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love and attraction, which blesses them with an incredible sensitivity to others. But sensitivity, when not balanced by self-awareness, can turn into self-sacrifice. Libras sometimes fall into the trap of believing that their partner's happiness is more important than their own, that their role in intimacy is to provide pleasure rather than to receive it. They become so focused on avoiding conflict, on ensuring their partner feels satisfied, that they neglect their own body's needs, their own heart's longings. This people-pleasing is not malicious, nor is it manipulative. It is born from love and from fear, love for their partner, and fear of disharmony. But it leaves them vulnerable to disconnection, both from themselves and from the authenticity of the relationship. The danger here is subtle. On the surface, everything may seem idyllic. The partner feels cared for, the atmosphere remains smooth, the scales look balanced. But beneath that calm surface, Libra's true self may be hidden, unexpressed, quietly yearning. Over weeks, months, or years, this can create a hollowness that no amount of harmony can fill. A relationship where one voice is always softened, where one set of needs is always deferred, cannot remain vibrant. Eventually, the Libra may find themselves restless, dissatisfied, or even resentful, not because their partner failed them, but because they failed to honor their own desires. Another shadow lies in their relationship with beauty itself. Libra's love of aesthetics is a gift. They are drawn to the harmony of form, the elegance of appearance, the refinement of style. But when beauty becomes a substitute for depth, it can lead them astray. Attracted to surface allure, they may choose partners who dazzle the eye but do little to nourish the soul. They may confuse physical charm with emotional compatibility, or mistake external elegance for inner substance. In such cases, their Venusian eye for beauty becomes a trap, luring them into relationships that sparkle brightly but burn out quickly. Consider how this might play out. A Libra meets someone striking, someone whose appearance seems to embody everything they find irresistible. The attraction is immediate, magnetic. But as the intimacy unfolds, Libra begins to sense a hollowness. The conversations feel shallow, the emotional connection thin, yet the surface remains intoxicating. It is in these moments that Libra risks mistaking chemistry for compatibility, attraction for intimacy. The aesthetic blinds them to the deeper needs of their heart, leading them into patterns of dissatisfaction. And yet, even this shadow is rooted in their longing for harmony. They do not chase beauty out of vanity, but because beauty represents balance, order, and peace. It reassures them, comforts them, offers them a sense of perfection. The challenge is that life and love are never purely aesthetic. They are messy, raw, complicated. If Libra cannot accept the imperfect, the flawed, the real, they risk living only in the surface layers of intimacy, never descending into the profound depths that true connection demands. One of the most striking contradictions within Libra is this. They crave fairness and equality, but their fear of conflict often prevents them from achieving it. They dream of a relationship where both partners are fulfilled, where both voices are heard, but in their silence, they sometimes create the very imbalance they fear. By refusing to assert themselves, they tilt the scales, giving their partner more weight, more power, more influence. The result is a contradiction, harmony on the outside and equality on the inside. For Libra to grow beyond these shadows, they must learn to trust that honesty does not destroy harmony, it strengthens it. They must understand that expressing their needs is not selfish but necessary, that asking for balance requires their own voice as much as their partner's. They must also learn to see beyond surfaces, to recognize that true beauty is not only in appearances but in authenticity, vulnerability, and depth. The shadows of Libra are not flaws to be ashamed of. They are reminders of the delicate line they walk between harmony and avoidance, between beauty and truth. Their contradictions make them profoundly human. They are not the perfect lovers that their Venusian light might suggest, but lovers who, like all of us, wrestle with fears, insecurities, and illusions. And it is in facing these shadows that Libra's true potential shines, not in denying them, but in acknowledging them, in learning that the most beautiful harmony is born not from silence, but from the courageous blending of two authentic voices. Best signs for friendship with Libra. While we often focus on Libra in the romantic or sexual sense, it's equally important to consider who makes the best companions for them. After all, for Libra, intimacy is not only about passion, seduction, or shared physical space. It is also about companionship, laughter, and the quiet moments of understanding that knit two souls together outside the bedroom. Libra thrives in friendships as much as they thrive in love because both realms give them the chance to express their nature, seeking balance, harmony, and meaningful exchange. Friendship, for Libra, is not an accessory to life, it is a vital element of their emotional ecosystem. When we talk about Libra's best friends, two zodiac signs stand out immediately: Gemini and Aquarius. Both belong to the air element, as Libra does, and this shared foundation creates a natural resonance. Air signs connect through ideas, conversation, curiosity, and the exchange of perspectives. For Libra, who is constantly seeking harmony between the self and the other, friendships with Gemini and Aquarius feel like stepping into a space where energy flows without friction, where conversations sparkle, and where companionship comes alive with lightness and depth at the same time. With Gemini, the connection is almost instant. Gemini's restless curiosity and Libra's natural love for dialogue create a friendship that is endlessly dynamic. Put a Libra and a Gemini together, and silence rarely lingers. Their exchanges are filled with witty banter, sudden questions, shared discoveries, and playful debates that never seem to end. Gemini keeps Libra engaged, while Libra provides the steadiness and grace that helps ground Gemini's quicksilver mind. Together, they strike a balance that feels like two mirrors reflecting each other's brilliance, different but equally radiant. In friendship, Libra and Gemini share a love for communication not just as a tool but as an art. For them, words are bridges, ways to connect hearts and minds across invisible spaces. A late-night talk with a Gemini leaves Libra feeling refreshed, curious, and more alive. A shared adventure, even something as simple as strolling through a city and commenting on its architecture or people, becomes an exploration of ideas. Libra thrives on Gemini's humor and quick wit, while Gemini admires Libra's charm and ability to elevate every conversation into something graceful. They never tire of one another because each encounter feels like a new chapter in a never-ending dialogue. Yet what makes Gemini such a powerful friend for Libra is not only conversation but companionship. Both signs are naturally social, both thrive in group dynamics, both enjoy exploring new experiences. Whether it's attending a gallery opening, trying a new restaurant, or simply laughing at inside jokes, Libra and Gemini feel as though they are playing the same game of life, lighthearted, curious, and endlessly fascinated by the world around them. Their friendship doesn't demand, it delights. And for Libra, that sense of effortless flow is priceless. Aquarius, on the other hand, offers something slightly different but equally valuable. If Gemini is the friend who entertains and inspires through constant exchange, Aquarius is the visionary friend who challenges Libra to see beyond the obvious, to embrace originality and innovation. Aquarius brings a spark of revolution to Libra's world. They don't just talk, they provoke. They push Libra to question assumptions, to break free from tradition, to see beauty not only in harmony but also in disruption. This may sound like the opposite of Libra's nature. After all, Libra craves balance while Aquarius thrives on change, but the truth is that the two complement each other beautifully. Libra's gift for diplomacy and harmony softens Aquarius's rebellious streak, while Aquarius frees Libra from the trap of always trying to please everyone. Together, they strike a balance between elegance and originality, between grace and daring. Their friendship feels like a dance between the classic and the avant-garde, a space where both can grow without fear of judgment. What Libra values most in Aquarius is the freedom to be themselves. Aquarius does not demand conformity, nor do they pressure Libra to fit into a mold. Instead, they encourage authenticity, even if that authenticity disrupts harmony. And for Libra, this is liberating. In Aquarius's presence, they learn that balance does not always mean perfection, that sometimes true beauty lies in imperfection, in honesty, in daring to be different. Aquarius shows Libra that friendship can be a crucible for growth, a place where comfort is combined with challenge. And just as with Gemini, the conversations between Libra and Aquarius never fall flat. They dive into deep topics: philosophy, art, social justice, the future of humanity. They can just as easily pivot from joking about life's absurdities to discussing profound truths about love, freedom, and existence. Libra appreciates Aquarius's vision, their ability to see beyond the present, while Aquarius values Libra's sense of fairness, their constant striving to bring balance into every idea. Their dialogue is not just talk, it is collaboration, the creation of shared visions that inspire both. For Libra, friends who stimulate the mind are just as important as those who nurture the heart. They crave connections that feel alive, vibrant, and meaningful. Gemini and Aquarius provide this in spades, offering companionship that never feels forced, never feels heavy, but always feels real. These friendships are not transactional. They are fluid, natural, filled with laughter, creativity, and exploration. With Gemini, Libra finds endless amusement, a partner in curiosity, someone to share every passing thought and every spontaneous adventure. With Aquarius, Libra finds a visionary ally, someone who helps them break free from their own hesitations and embrace authenticity. In both, Libra discovers companionship that uplifts rather than drains, friendships that bring not only joy but growth. The gift of these bonds is that Libra never feels judged, never feels diminished. They feel equal, appreciated, and celebrated for who they are. In a world where Libra often bends to accommodate others, friendships with Gemini and Aquarius restore balance by allowing Libra to relax, to play, to dream, and to be unapologetically themselves. That is why these friendships endure, why they hold such deep meaning, and why Libra, when surrounded by these signs, feels not only understood but truly alive. Signs that challenge Libra. Not every connection is smooth sailing, and even the most charming of signs, Libra, finds themselves tested by certain dynamics that press against their weaknesses. Though Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony, not every astrological pairing reflects that same easy grace. Some signs challenge them not because they are inherently incompatible, but because they illuminate the very struggles Libra carries within: the tendency to please others, the fear of confrontation, the longing for balance even when imbalance is necessary for growth. Two signs in particular, Capricorn and Cancer, highlight these shadows with striking clarity, often pushing Libra to reckon with contradictions they might otherwise avoid. With Capricorn, the challenge begins with perspective. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, is practical, disciplined, and often deeply focused on structure, duty, and long-term responsibility. Their nature is serious, cautious, sometimes even heavy, in stark contrast to Libra's preference for lightness, romance, and aesthetic pleasure. Where Libra thrives in the dance of social connection and beauty, Capricorn is often concerned with order, productivity, and achievement. This can feel stifling for Libra, who longs for spontaneity and effortless flow. What Libra sees as suffocating rigidity, Capricorn sees as necessary stability. What Capricorn perceives as Libra's indecision or focus on appearances, Libra views as their gift for harmony and grace. In intimacy, this difference becomes even more pronounced. Libra seeks romance, the candlelight, the thoughtful gestures, the feeling of being swept up in love's elegance. Capricorn, though capable of deep commitment, often approaches sex as another area where effort and responsibility must be invested. Their emotions, reserved and often hidden beneath layers of stoicism, can frustrate Libra, who craves warmth and openness. For Libra, seduction is an art, foreplay is essential, and the atmosphere is part of the magic. For Capricorn, sometimes these details feel unnecessary or indulgent. The result is a clash between two value systems, one rooted in order and duty, the other in beauty and pleasure. Yet it is not only in love or sex where the tension arises. In daily life, Capricorn's drive for structure can feel like a constant weight pressing against Libra's airy spirit. Libra wishes to linger in conversations, to enjoy life's pleasures, to keep options open until the very last moment. Capricorn prefers decisions made firmly, paths laid out clearly, and responsibilities honored above all else. For Libra, this can feel like being caged, forced into lines and duties that strip life of its spontaneity. For Capricorn, Libra's wavering, their indecision, their tendency to avoid difficult truths, can feel irresponsible or shallow. Both signs may leave each other feeling misunderstood. Libra as though they are not allowed to breathe, Capricorn as though they must always carry the weight of seriousness alone. Still, this is not a hopeless connection. If both signs are willing to learn from each other, Libra can soften Capricorn's rigidity, teaching them that beauty and pleasure have value, that romance and joy are not frivolous but essential to the human spirit. Capricorn, in turn, can help Libra ground their dreams, reminding them that balance is not only about charm but also about discipline, that harmony sometimes requires structure. Yet without conscious effort, this pairing too often slips into frustration, where Libra feels suffocated and Capricorn feels exasperated, each wishing the other would change. The challenge with Cancer is entirely different yet equally profound. Cancer, ruled by the moon, is a deeply emotional and nurturing sign, their waters running to depths that Libra often hesitates to explore. Cancer feels everything intensely. They crave security, closeness, and emotional depth, diving fully into the tides of feeling, even when those tides are turbulent. Libra, on the other hand, prefers calm waters. They seek balance, lightness, and grace, often avoiding emotional storms whenever possible. For Libra, conflict is distressing, intensity is exhausting, and emotional heaviness weighs down their airy spirit. At first, Libra may be drawn to Cancer's tenderness. Cancer offers warmth, care, and the promise of deep devotion, which can feel soothing to Libra's longing for connection. But soon the differences emerge. Cancer's emotional needs can feel overwhelming, their vulnerability demanding constant reassurance, their moods shifting with lunar tides. Libra, who strives to keep everything peaceful, may begin to feel drained by this constant intensity. They want to keep things smooth, but Cancer insists on diving into the messy truth of feelings. What Libra perceives as unnecessary turbulence, Cancer views as authenticity and depth. In the realm of intimacy, this contrast deepens. Cancer's sexuality is entwined with their emotions, they cannot separate the act from the depth of feeling. They want every touch to carry meaning, every moment to reinforce safety and closeness. Libra, though romantic and tender, often seeks pleasure through harmony and beauty rather than emotional immersion. For them, sex is a dance of elegance and desire, not necessarily an ocean of emotions. The mismatch can leave Libra feeling suffocated by demands for depth they are not ready to give, while Cancer may feel dismissed, unseen, or unfulfilled, as though their emotional reality is being glossed over in Libra's pursuit of lightness. The danger here is subtle but significant. Libra, unwilling to confront or disappoint, may overextend themselves, trying to meet Cancer's needs while hiding their own discomfort. They may smile, agree, or go along simply to avoid conflict. Cancer, sensing this hesitation, may push harder, demanding even more reassurance, even more depth. The cycle grows heavy, until Libra feels utterly drained, as though the friendship or relationship that once promised warmth has become a burden. Cancer, meanwhile, may feel abandoned, hurt by Libra's unwillingness to meet them in the depths of vulnerability. And yet, even here, there is potential. Cancer can teach Libra the value of emotional truth, the beauty of facing storms rather than avoiding them, the richness of intimacy that is rooted not only in pleasure but in vulnerability. Libra, in return, can teach Cancer the art of balance, showing them that not every feeling needs to be magnified, that there is grace in letting go, in choosing lightness when the waves grow too heavy. If both are willing, their differences can become complementary. But without awareness, the relationship often becomes one where Libra feels drained and Cancer feels neglected, a pairing that highlights their weaknesses more than their strengths. Ultimately, the challenge posed by Capricorn and Cancer is not meant to break Libra, but to push them toward growth. Capricorn forces Libra to confront their tendency to drift, to avoid decisions, to remain in the realm of pleasure without grounding. Cancer forces Libra to acknowledge that balance cannot always mean avoidance, that sometimes harmony must be found not in silence but in weathering the storm together. These signs test Libra, but through that testing, they reveal deeper truths. These connections aren't doomed, but they require extra effort, patience, and, above all, self-awareness. Libra must learn that harmony does not mean bending until they disappear, that balance requires their voice as much as their partner's. With Capricorn, they must learn to honor structure without feeling trapped. With Cancer, they must learn to honor emotion without becoming engulfed. If they succeed, Libra emerges stronger, more authentic, more capable of true intimacy. But if they fail, these relationships highlight their shadows, leaving them drained, restless, and yearning for the lightness they crave. The ultimate expression of Libra's sexuality. At the heart of Libra's sexual identity lies one simple truth: they are artists of intimacy. For Libra, sexuality is not simply a physical act, nor merely a fleeting surge of desire. It is a carefully woven tapestry, a creation that brings together body, mind, and spirit. They see intimacy as an art form, delicate, intricate, layered with meaning. To be with Libra at their fullest expression is to enter a space that feels less like a bedroom and more like a gallery, where every touch, every glance, every whisper is part of a masterpiece designed not only to ignite passion but also to restore harmony between two souls. For Libra, sex is never just about release, it is about connection. They approach intimacy with the same eye for beauty that they bring to every other part of life. The setting matters: the flicker of candlelight, the softness of sheets, the fragrance lingering in the air, the rhythm of music that moves like a heartbeat through the room. But more than this, the tone matters. They want laughter to mingle with sighs, conversation to flow as easily as caresses, and vulnerability to be shared as openly as pleasure. Sex, in its highest form for Libra, is a collaboration between two people, a duet where both voices matter equally. Their ideal partner is someone who appreciates this duality, who values both the aesthetics and the depth of their approach. Libra thrives with lovers who understand that beauty is not superficial but sacred, that romance is not an ornament but an essential ingredient of intimacy. They need a partner who can meet them in both elegance and honesty, someone who recognizes that the perfect balance is not created by one person leading and the other following, but by both partners leaning toward each other in equal measure. When Libra is at their best, they embody reciprocity. They give as much as they receive, not out of obligation but out of joy. They believe that intimacy should feel like a mirror. When one smiles, the other reflects it. When one sighs, the other responds. Their sexuality is not about power, not about dominance or submission, not even about indulgence for its own sake. It is about balance. They want to dissolve the invisible barriers that separate two individuals and create a space where equality reigns, where neither feels above or below the other, where both feel fully seen, heard, and touched. This is why Libra's ultimate expression of sexuality is often described as transcendent. It goes beyond the mechanics of sex, beyond the superficial trappings of lust. It becomes an experience where pleasure and love merge, where the physical and emotional are inseparable. In such moments, Libra teaches us something profound: that intimacy, at its core, is about balance. It is not about winning or losing, not about taking or withholding, but about creating a sacred middle ground where two people meet as equals. Imagine a night with Libra at their fullest expression. It begins long before the bedroom, through the slow build of flirtation, the artful teasing in conversation, the lingering glance across the room. By the time you are together, the air is already charged with anticipation. The setting is intentional. Music chosen not by accident but to set a mood, lighting adjusted to flatter and soothe, every element aligned like instruments in an orchestra. And when the moment unfolds, it is not rushed, not clumsy, but fluid, like a dance. Libra moves in rhythm with you, attentive to every shift, every subtle cue, creating harmony not just through action but through presence. This is what makes them unforgettable. Libra is not interested in conquest, they are interested in communion. Their legacy as lovers lies not in the intensity of passion alone, but in the way they make their partners feel cherished, included, and balanced within the exchange. To be with Libra is to feel that you matter, that your pleasure, your comfort, your presence are not only noticed but honored. And yet, their artistry is not rigid. For all their love of harmony, Libra's ultimate expression is not about perfection but about flow. They know that intimacy is alive, shifting from moment to moment, and their gift lies in responding to these shifts with grace. If their partner needs tenderness, Libra offers softness. If their partner craves fire, Libra matches the flame. If their partner needs silence, Libra knows how to let touch replace words. They are artists precisely because they understand that intimacy is not static. It is a living canvas, one that requires constant adjustment, constant attention, constant co-creation. At this level, Libra's sexuality becomes a philosophy, a teaching. They remind us that intimacy is not a battlefield of egos, not a place for control or domination. It is a sanctuary, a space carved out for equality, beauty, and balance. They show us that the most profound experiences do not come from overpowering or being overpowered, but from meeting in the middle, from sharing equally in vulnerability and joy. When Libra is aligned with themselves, when they overcome their shadows of indecision, when they allow themselves to voice their needs as much as they meet the needs of others, they achieve their highest potential in intimacy. They create a relationship where both partners feel nourished, where sex is not only satisfying but soul deep. In this space, there is no pretense, no struggle, no imbalance, only the quiet, resonant truth that two people can create something greater together than either could alone. This is the ultimate expression of Libra's sexuality, artistry born of balance, passion softened by tenderness, beauty deepened by authenticity. It is a reminder that love, at its most intimate, is not about power but about partnership, not about indulgence but about connection. Libra, in their truest form, invites us into that sacred middle ground where desire flows like music, where bodies and souls align, and where intimacy becomes not just an act but an art. So, when you think of Libra in the aspect of sex, think of elegance meeting passion, of harmony meeting desire, of beauty meeting truth. They are the lovers who remind us that intimacy is as much about the soul as it is about the body, and that when balance is found, passion becomes timeless.